Hello, I'm Sonia Ferreira. I'm a longevity coach and a self-development facilitator. I'm also the creator and the CEO at Na Primeira Pessoa coaching brand. Since last June, I've begun a series of talks about aging, about longevity and the myth about longevity in order to create a global awareness about the healthy and empowered longevity. Today at 70s, we are around 70s, we are many times just beginning life, not ending. So today, to speak about and to talk about the myth of age in well-being, I have the privilege of having Manori, a dearest friend I know for many years, to talk and to debate about this. Manori has a background in architecture and business and is an expert in Mindfull and altered states of wellness, creativity, and transformation. She's also the co-creator of Neuma Mind Spa with her husband Nelson Abreu in Chinatown, LA. Together, they have created technologies that are inspired in energy, mindfulness, meditation, and sound healing. And this is important. Manori, many thanks for being here and to agree on this invitation, first of all.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, and I thought that mindfulness matches a lot with aging, and we are going to talk more about that. And for starting, I was thinking that talking about that more than biological age, mental age influences aging. I think that is much important. Don't you think about this?
Yes, I think if you look around, a lot of the older people who are living very healthy and happy lives, they seem to be young at heart. You know that term that says you're young at heart despite your age is, I think, reflective of this mental attitude that they bring to life. So I think regardless of what age you are in your life, you can be living a very productive, happy, healthy life if you have that attitude of that we associate usually with younger people. I think age is like it's a mythical thing because we really don't know how old we are in our souls. We attribute our biological age to our level of maturity, more like it. So I think we notice, like sometimes, we wake up in the morning and you are tired and you feel old, so that you start the day like, little hunched shoulders and not feeling great, you don't have a lot of energy. This is what we usually attribute to older, advanced age. But we know now, like you said, 70s is not really old right now. I don't think people actually feel that age if they live healthy until their 80s. Really, you can really live a productive, active, happy, creative life well into your 70s and 80s if you have the right kind of mental attitude. And I think mental attitude defines a lot about how we live life and how we embrace life and the kind of things we want to do. So like you see all the people who go out dancing and they go to painting classes or they go do yoga and mindfulness. They tend to be a lot more vibrant. And then you see younger people who are not, active, and they're just like sitting down and watching TV and not very active, don't go out and socialize. They really act like they were in their 80s. So it's really a mental attitude.
It's like a changing of paradigm, because until now People will work hard until some age, and then they will hope for retirement,
Yes.
being at home, for like they work all life and now they want to rest.
Yes.
That gives us another perspective, because if we think that if work does not necessarily means painful or physical more effort, we still could be fulfillment and being okay with doing work. We could do less hours, for instance, but nevertheless we are active and mental active and soul active and participating with life at the planet. I think that's very important, that because even in enterprises now, they are debating until when we should work, or if many times, how many times or many hours we should work.
Yes.
And still we see so many people don't have job that could have job and do some tasks, and we still could be enjoying more life and enjoying more the spaces we have to learn different things, to give more space for ourselves. And I think that mindfulness and being at the present, and in coaching we talk a lot of being in the present, the flow, to be like with our essence more, and being with that we could acknowledge many things we don't even know about ourselves. And that's the great, because if we are going to have more time, how are we going to spend it?
Yes.
In which activities, and which things we are going to do. And I think not all of us are going to want to do the same things.
Yes. So there's a few different things that you brought up that were interesting. People do work longer now. And often, and this happened with my parents, when they retired, they felt lost, like they don't have anything that they have to do anymore. And over the years after retiring, they realized gardening and these other passions, like getting together with the community, going for walks and traveling. It's, I feel like people associate well-being with like happiness and health, but there are other layers to it, right? Like financially, security, and purpose. These are things that directly contribute to well-being also. What often happens is that people often associate their happiness and well-being in general with like material things. So in order to have material things like houses and cars, you need to have a job.
Success.
The success, right? Yeah. So in order to have success, you need to have this job. So you fully put your self-worth to your job. And then you retire at whatever age, 60, 65, or now even later. Then you feel lost, So I think the interesting thing to think about here would be like, if you could do just about anything you want to do, what would you do? And I think in order to answer that question, you really have to know yourself. And for me, mindfulness played a huge important part in this, because to know yourself, the biggest tools that we have is to be able to dig into ourselves. And that requires a lot of introspection and reflections, and allowing yourself to really be yourself and like identify all the different characteristics that you have, acknowledge it, and realize what parts you need to improve, what parts you need to use to make your life better. And this is a process. This is something that you do all throughout your life. Some people start it very early in their lives, and some people start it very late in their lives. And I think regardless of what age you start, I think mindfulness can be a very useful tool because it's free. You can do it anywhere you want, at home, at work, and it's really helping you establish this very healthy, intimate relationship with yourself, and mindfulness can be two things, right? It can be the aspect of going to a corner and closing your eyes and getting into the lotus position and going home. That's what a lot of people think mindfulness is, like meditation is, but mindfulness is a lot broader and a lot deeper than that, because it's the act of engaging with the present moment fully. So you can be doing that, and I think you should be doing that introspective, engaging with yourself kind of mindfulness that you do, a few times a day. But I also think you can be mindful in your day-to-day tasks where you engage with your whatever you're doing right now. We are having this conversation and being fully present, giving yourself the dignity to fully engage with this task that you're doing, and honoring the task that you're doing by giving yourself fully to that. So I think there's a lot that can be learned from these acts just by simple things like you can notice patterns of how you react in different situations. But you can also observe the world around you way better. You can take in a lot better if you fully engage and give yourself to the task that you're doing. And it's the same with yourself. Let's say you take 3 breaks during the day to do some very small mindfulness practices. 3 minutes each, 3 times a day, once wake up in the morning, once during the day, once before you go to sleep. You just sit down and do some breathing exercises. What does this do? This allows yourself to really center yourself and get in touch with your body and your energies and your mind. And through this process, you increase your focus, your overall awareness, empathy, sensitivity. You are able to see the value of emotions without the reactivity. You're able to step away and put it into perspective. Therefore, you're able to make better decisions. Your creativity improves. Your judgment improves. You become a better self-aware person. Therefore, you can become a better leader, and so on. So there are a lot of applications to mindfulness, I think, that comes no matter what age you can apply. And like I said, it's a tool that can be used in the learning process of getting in touch with yourself.
And also asking some questions, like, what do I want? What do I want to do right now? Like, we could ask at the moment, at long term, at short term, but nevertheless, trying to ask ourselves our essence, what do I want? What do I feel to do it? Because many times, and that relates also with mindfulness, we don't even attend our body sensations, what we need. Sometimes we just need to relax, to sit, to eat more slowly, to go to the beach, to see some silly thing on the TV, to just relax and to give away the mental mind we have, the central mode. And sometimes we think, that doesn't give me some, it's not some, I'm not going to have some immediate return, but with time that gives us more endurance, and we learn more about us, I think.
Yes.
And that we will allow us to have that longevity. Longevity is not just the age or the soma or the body. of course, we could have some DNA, some predisposition to live longer lives, but which quality of mind and body and fulfillment we could have. And that, I think, it will be the next decades. It will be very important as to reflect, because I think that is the real thing that will give us a quality longevity, not just the years. Because if we have only the years, it's just like one more here and one more here and one more here, and that will be like some prison. It would be not something we could enjoy and give and have some results for aging more.
Yes.
Because it's like an opportunity, and we could talk about purpose in life, because we could have many purposes: a spiritual purpose, a family purpose, an individual purpose, many more than a purpose. But all the studies I've saw about aging, about some places on Earth that people age later, they have a longevity. Among various factors, one of us is the reason for waking up. People having the reason for waking up. It could be just like some animals taking care of family. It could be greater things, it could be projects, it could be many things. But nevertheless, they had a sense of purpose for going on, for keeping on. So I think longevity, this is quite important also to be questioning and to be nurturing this.
Yes, I agree. And that bit that you said about, longevity also has to do with the quality. I completely agree, because it's not just living a long life, it's living a life that has very good quality of life, and then purpose definitely has a huge role in this, because you really can't find happiness without finding meaning and purpose in your life. So the two main aspects of well-being, health and happiness. Health includes mental health, and happiness is, your overall joy and how you're able to maintain happiness. And purpose has to do with both these aspects, because more often than not, we are only able to be satisfied with our lives if we know there's something underlying, like a good foundation. And I think purpose has a lot to do with it. Now, with the work that we do, what we focus on is helping people, empowering them rather, to get in touch with themselves so they can tap into this aspect of it. That you, by getting to know yourself, it's our hope that you can find out why you are here on this earth. You can ask questions like, what is the relationship you have with yourself, but also with the world around you? Is there something that you think that you can do to make the world better around you, for yourself, for your family, for the environment, animals, or your community in general? I think purpose, this is where purpose comes into play, and longevity often has a lot to do with that aspect.
Yeah, because we are not we are not on survival mode.
Yes.
But even though the media wants to tell us that we are still on conflicts and we are still in a world full of chaos, which we are in part, but that is not only the truth, because when people are on situations like we have now, or with COVID, people tend to see other ways, and the community is very important. When we talk about longevity and we talk about purpose, I think that purpose, it relates also with community, our place in community. When I talk with communities, for more like the more close community, could be on your neighborhood, could be your family, but also more places, the city, the world itself, it's being part of the process, and that empowers people, and also make them for more to go outside their own problems or their own view of problems. They start to be part of the solutions. And creativity, as you said later on, as you said, the creativity comes on naturally. We don't have to make an effort to think, oh, my purpose, oh, what is my purpose, what's going to be the next step. Many times it will come naturally when we will involve and we experiment things about our own path. And this is in any way age. The image that is sold, like there is an age for everything, like childhood, like and the elder people just need to fit in a role model. This is more is going to be more discussed in the near future, because we ourselves are the next older people, and
Yes.
we have some other formation. We try to find another solutions. We start to improving ourselves, to start to look for it. So we have. I think we will have another way of things and having an effect on the world itself.
Yes, I agree. And I think it's a weird time right now, you know, because like up until 2020, I think the world was not, most of the world was not in a question of survival. If you think about places where there's war, there's extreme poverty, then it's a question of survival. But there's a huge portion of the world who doesn't have problems like that like in Europe and the US, more affluent countries. Even these countries do have problems like poverty, and people don't have enough food to eat, and they don't have access to healthcare. So survival, I feel like before, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, survival was a question of, it was like this tiger was chasing you down while you were looking for food, and it was a question of staying alive in that sense. Now it's a question of, okay, there's a lot of food. Do I have the money to buy the food? And can I provide for my family? So it's a very different thing. But I don't think our bodies know how to say the difference between the stress that we had to stay alive from the tiger to the stress that we have now day to day, just like navigating normal life, you in Lisbon and I'm in Los Angeles, and we have very different stresses than staying alive from trying to keep ourselves alive from a tiger, And I think stress and burnout has a lot to do with longevity also, because it has to do with, stress long-term can burn you out, and you can get inflammation and different health issues like pain and autoimmune diseases and, various ailments. But it can also drain your creativity. It can drain your good spirit and your sense of humor, and you can't think straight. You're not as clear with your thinking as much. So these are like real problems in the modern world's survival, and I think that's also why we see a lot of like mental health issues that's coming around. And I think looping back to mindfulness, I think it's really good to think about, okay, in this world and navigating all these different modern stress factors that we have. What are the different tools I'm using to stay healthy and stay well? And some of the very useful tools that I found as both an entrepreneur and architectural designer is that mindfulness is definitely one. Going to a mental health care professional like a therapist is another great tool. But engaging in deep conversations with people who doesn't necessarily have your view, but to be able to engage in a discussion where you're able to explore a topic and expand your knowledge, I think it has a lot to do with it. I also think engaging creative activities has a lot to do with it too, especially as we advance in our age. We tend to get into routines and we want to stick to our routines. But I think engaging activities that are not a part of your routine can really help you in your creativity. And there's research that shows that if you stay creative for longer in your life, you're likely to be healthier, because through creativity, we are able to express ourselves. And this is a huge part of our purpose and our connection to the world around us. And that's one of the things that we focus in our company. And one of the reasons why we started the company is because we were noticing, Nelson is an engineer. I'm coming from an architecture background, and we both have still very demanding schedules. We're always busy. And we noticed people around us also were having the same thing, and we were always stressed and burnt out. And although we were not even 40, our bodies were acting like we were in our 50s and 60s because we're constantly busy, we're constantly stressed out. So we realized, okay, we were fortunate enough to have these tools in mindfulness and have these tools with a great community like friends like you and a great support system. How can we create this for other people like us? Which was the reason why we started our company, Neuma Being and Neuma Mind Spa, and the different technologies, because I really feel like you can't think of life as this like individual, single, monolithic thing. We have different personalities, different interests, and if we don't fulfill a lot of those things, it's very difficult to be happy and fulfilled in your lives. So I think it's really critical that people acknowledge that there's different parts of yourself that contributes to longevity, that things like purpose, things like creativity, your mental health, your physical health, your relationships with your community is a huge factor. I think one of the things that Europe is doing really well, or they used to do really well, is that there's this sense of community, that everyone living in your neighborhood. That we don't get that a lot in the US.
It took centuries, but just joking a little bit.
Well, there are positives and negatives to that, but I think community in general is, especially at a time like right now when there's a pandemic going on, we notice, because we are isolated, we are staying inside a lot, you notice how important community was. So all these aspects, like if we were to live well and live happy, I feel like you have to appease all these sides of you and don't deny.
And some complementary of what you are saying. When I work at the University of Seniors University, what I notice, if they are touched with diversity, they need to be, how can I say it? We have to make them notice what's happening, because many times they are on silent mode.
Yes.
And creativity, we have to be very creative. We have to make some things very different not the issue itself, but the way we present things.
Yes.
For them to engage, to be able to engage, and wanting to go forward. So
yes.
that was two things: creativity and diversity. There are two things that they would love, so to speak.
When you say diversity, it's like variety of things that they do, or like diversity in opinions and ideas?
Like presenting the issue with another approach.
Oh, I see.
They tend to like normal things like some like history, like these normal disciplines.
Yes.
But when we speak about, for instance, the purpose of life, that was one of the subjects I've talked about. They were like this. Oh, they start to think this is another thing, because mission of life, other things they already heard about it, but different approach when I talk about the meaning of them finding what really fulfilled them.
Yes.
Because they tend to talk to me. Oh, like time has passed. I don't wish to talk more about that. But when I talk about really thinking, not great things, but what they like to do. And when I bring other projects like doing some mandalas and painting, but with another approach like coaching, they would love it.
Yeah.
So, that diversity and creativity is very important for keeping the flame itself, for people to be alive, to be more aware of things.
Yes.
And they do mindfulness with another teacher, then they also like a lot. But I think they need to be more, how can I say it? To be more, to give them more life, to wake up.
Vitality.
Yeah. Things. And they will respond it naturally.
Don't
force it, but
yes.
To wake up. We need to wake up the energy, because like you said, things tend to be like regular, like slow down, like regular, and that is one aspect very, very important. And that relates what I would like to talk also, because we need to, more than learning more things, we need to find out the things that are already inside of us. We have many things that we don't know. When I say things, it's like we want to reveal some things about ourselves. We have a lot of things. We are much more than we reveal.
Yes.
Manori, we are reaching our time, sadly.
Because thank you so much for having me to talk.
We could approach. I think it was very good.
Thank you.
A lot of topics here. I hope this will encourage people to think more and to open more for debate, because I think the more we talk, the more we will find new things or things that could be built on more, and to embrace and to be in the community. As you said at Neuma, that is also your purpose. And I thank you a lot.
Thank you so much.
On another initiatives and many things. Okay, many
thank you. I really enjoyed being here today, and thank you for having me.